Hello to you, Mr Harper. Good to see you. Thanks for taking the time to join us this morning. Great to see NATO working in such harmony.
Indeed, just like your team there at Sky, Kay.
Hey, very good. I'm still not going to let you off because I want to ask you about this HS2 money being reallocated. 4.7 billion for the North and Midlands, yet 3.5 billion, I'm told, was spent on the Jubilee line. The maths doesn't really add up, does it?
Yes, it does. It's £4.7 billion of money from the cancellation of HS2. You'll remember the decision we made last year to cancel the second phase of HS2, and we said all of the savings, every penny, would be reinvested into transport, and that's what we're setting out the detail of today. So the North and the Midlands were where they're the biggest savings, because we said the money would be spent where it would have been spent on HS2. So what we're announcing today are the allocations going to individual councils, 2.5 billion in the North, 2.2 billion in the Midlands, for transformational transport spending over the next 7 years from next year. That's way more money than these councils have ever had before, and it's to spend on their local transport priorities, on the things that they think are important and their local communities think are important to improve their everyday transport journeys. That'll give them benefits much more quickly on things they care about than HS2, one single rail line, ever would have done.
And is all of the money going to the North and the Midlands, or is some of it being used to resurface roads in the South?
No, so as you know, we have already announced £8.3 billion of spending for local road maintenance. That was across the whole country, and that was from the savings from the cancellation of HS2 Phase 2. The money that was spent outside the North and the Midlands was from the new way we're delivering Euston Station, which is, of course, in the south of the country. This is money specifically for the North and the Midlands because that's where the bulk of the HS2 savings are from, and it's specifically going outside the big city regions. The big city regions with those elected mayors, your Ben Houchens and your Andy Streets, they already had a big boost in their capital funding from that HS2 cancellation. This is money going to the smaller cities and towns and rural areas across the North and the Midlands that have never had this sort of transport spending before, so they can improve the transport opportunities for their local communities.
OK. What has Lee Anderson done wrong?
Well, he said things about Sadiq Khan that weren't true and that were quite wrong to say. And he was given the opportunity to retract those comments and to apologise for them. He didn't do so. So very clear and decisive leadership was taken and the whip's been removed from him.
What does he have to say to be welcomed back into the party?
Look, I hope he will reflect on what he said, and he will retract those comments and apologise. You know, there are many things you can criticise Sadiq Khan for. He's got a terrible record on everything, frankly, and I criticise him frequently on his failures on transport, his rolling out ULEZ, his punishing poorer motorists, the fact that London's the slowest city of equivalent size on planet Earth. But we don't have to make anything up about Sadiq Khan. His record's terrible. He should lose that election, but he should lose it because of his terrible record. And what does
Lee Anderson have to say to come back to the party?
Well, look, that's not a matter for me. That's a matter for the Chief Whip. I've been Chief Whip in the past. I'm not going to tell the Chief Whip how to do his job. But a good start would be...
Then what would you like to hear from him as a former Chief Whip?
Well, look, a good start would be to reflect on what he was asked to do and wouldn't do, which is to apologise for what he said. That would be a good start, but I'm not going to tell the Chief Whip how to do his job. That's for him. But what Lee said was wrong. That's why there was firm and decisive leadership from the Prime Minister and the Chief Whip. That's why he lost the whip. You
say it was wrong. Was it racist?
Well, it was wrong, and I'm not going to get into arguing about the rights and wrongs of what he said. It was wrong. In my book, wrong is a strong word. It was not true.
Different word to racist.
As I said, Sadiq Khan's got a terrible record on his track record as Mayor of London.
That's not my question, Mr Harper. You've already dealt with that matter. My question is, was it racist what he said?
Well, look, I'm not going to get into a detailed analysis of what he said. What he said was wrong, and it wasn't true. He shouldn't have said it. He failed to take the opportunity to retract those comments and apologise. That's why there was firm leadership.
Lots of people are wrong. I'm wrong on a daily basis. I'm not a racist.
No, but what he said about Sadiq Khan was profoundly
Racist?
wrong. Those things were not true. They're not true, and what he said was wrong, and he shouldn't have said them. As I said, there's a range of things we can criticise Sadiq Khan for. He's got a terrible track record on transport, and that's what I'm going to stick to.
Yeah, you've told me that already, Mr Harper. I've allowed you to say that 3 times now. He was previously Deputy Chairman, Lee Anderson. Given what he said, was he the wrong person to be Deputy Chairman in the first place?
Well, look, he said what he said as a backbencher, and he was wrong to do so, and the whip's been removed. He's contributed a lot in the past. I'd like to see him be able to contribute to the Conservative Party in the future, but what he said was wrong, and he'll need to reflect on that going forward.
Your former colleague, the Tory peer Saeed Avasi, told Sky News yesterday it's disturbing that in the current Conservative Party, not only is there a hierarchy of racism, but anti-Muslim racism is being used as an electoral campaign tool. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't agree with her, and the fact that we took such robust action so quickly against what Lee Anderson said, I think rather shows exactly why she's wrong. The Prime Minister and the Chief Whip took swift action to deal with what Lee said. That was the right thing to do. And I think actions speak louder than words.
And as far as Mr Speaker is concerned, can he count on your support?
Well, look, who the Speaker is a matter for Parliament as a whole. It's not for the government to set that out. The Speaker himself has accepted that he made mistakes last week. I think it was worrying that he changed the rules of how Parliament operates because of concerns for the security for MPs. And Keir Starmer has questions to answer about why he put the Speaker under such pressure. We should never change how we operate as members of Parliament because of outside threats. We have fantastic police and security agencies in this country. They're tasked with keeping us safe and ensuring our democracy is protected, and the government will always support them. We've got a Defending Democracy Task Force, which is chaired by the Security Minister, to make sure we can protect our democracy. And as I said, I am very confident in our security agencies that they'll keep us safe and enable us to have robust, frank discussion in Parliament, which is what we want to see.